Hi everyone, welcome to EADDY'S Craft Room. I'm Hannah Catherine Smith. Thank you so much for joining me today as I talk through all of my quilting whips. All right, first up on the list is Ocean Currents by Pine Tree Country Quilts. If you've been watching me for a little bit, you may remember that this is the quilt that I purchased fabrics for in Maine. I'll link a video above in case you want to check out that vlog. It was a really fun time for me going to my first brick and mortar quilt shop. Now I am making up this quilt using various batiks. Unfortunately, going to the brick and mortar quilt shop, I was not able to refer back to what fabrics I purchased and the bias wasn't super informational, so apologies there. I'm currently about halfway through the blocks, and this quilt is going to finish at 57 inches by 69 3/4 inches. Now I started out on these blocks here, and they are so fun. I have really enjoyed working with batiks. I love the feeling of the fabric, and I love the sound it makes when the scissors go through it. Maybe that's weird. I feel like so many people get into quilting and the arts in general because so many elements of it are soothing, whether it's the sound of paint on a canvas or the sound of your sewing machine or cutting fabric, and the batiks just really do it for me. So I am thrilled about my Ocean Currents quilt and hope that this is going to be my first finish of 2024. Next up is my Kona Solids block of the month. This is the 2024 Kona Cotton Solids block of the month. And in case you missed my last video, I'll link it up here, but I am challenging myself to make this with only the monthly charm packs. So there are charm packs for each month, and each of the charm packs come with a bunch of different colors and shades. And so I am challenging myself not to use any background fabric, at least in the blocks. I haven't decided about the setting, but it is going really well. So talked about that earlier video. I am just sailing through these. I am loving making this quilt. I think it's because I like cutting small pieces of fabric as opposed to yardage. If you are short on space, you will understand that. But it is turning out so well, and I am thrilled with getting outside of my comfort zone and trying something a little bit different. So between this and Ocean Currents, it's a race to the finish line on which will be finished first. So we will see what happens. Number 3 is the Mercantile Sampler Quilt-Along by Lori Holt. Now we talked about earlier this year how I am starting my Lori Holt journey. She has so many lines and kits coming out this year that I am just so excited for. And when I saw this quilt, I knew I had to make it. So I am using the Mercantile fabrics to make this beautiful quilt, which finishes at 88 inches by 88 inches. Now the quilt along starts on the 29th of January. I have already cut the fabric for my first block, which is called Birthday Cake, and I'm going to try and document as much of this journey as possible so that you can truly feel like we are quilting along together, which I think is kind of the point of these different projects. It's so fun to have community while making something beautiful. So stay tuned for more updates on this one. My fourth whip is the 2023 Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery Block of the Month. Now there are many designers behind the blocks that go into this beautiful quilt, and we are using the Sunnyside fabric by what is always my favorite designer, that's Camille Ross Kelly. I love this beautiful quilt. It finishes at 72.5 inches by 93.5 inches. And I'll be honest with you, I am a little bit behind, but I'm loving the quilt design and fabrics. Don't get me wrong, that is not the reason for being off schedule. My goal is really to catch up before the 2024 block of the month from Fat Quarter Shop starts, and that's the Designer Mystery series. I believe it starts in May or June, so I have a little bit of time to catch up on this. This one is also great because I get to cut the smaller pieces of fabric that I like to cut, because each block of the month comes in its own kit and packaging from Fat Quarter Shop, which is fantastic, such a treat. So I will be catching up on that and then cutting into the setting fabric, which I have not touched yet. It's just so beautiful in the little box that it came in, but I am really excited to finish this one. It's definitely going to be a favorite already, I just know. Last but not least is Barnstar Sampler by Shelly Cavanagh. Now, I think I've talked before about how when I saw this quilt, I just had to make it. I mean, it just really took my breath away. I love samplers, I love stars, and I thought it was such a beautiful combination of both of those elements. So I'm using Sabrina by Wyndham Fabrics to make this beautiful quilt. It finishes at 80.5 inches by 100.5 inches. So it's gonna be a big one, probably the biggest quilt I've ever made. I am planning on picking it up again soon. I realized, I think the reason that I'm slowing up a little bit more on this one is I just bought fabric that I liked and then decided I would kind of color the quilt as I go. But I think that is slowing me down a little bit because I'm running into really not enjoying picking the fabric out for each block as I'm doing it. I think maybe in the future I should be coloring the quilt, the whole quilt from the beginning, and then determining my fabric from there. Maybe that means that electric quilt is going to be in my future purchases. I'm not sure. So far, just eyeballing things has been working, but we shall see. Either way, I think Barnstar Sampler is beautiful. I also got really kind of backed up at the end of the year with wanting to get my Christmas quilt done and having some other whips that I just really wanted to tie up before the end of the year. So this one kind of got put on pause, but I will be picking it up again soon. And as with all of them, I'm so excited for them all to come together. I hope that all of these inspire you in your own quilting journeys. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like this video if you did, and subscribe so you don't miss future videos from EADDY'S Craft Room. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.